Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host.
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor, and you probably saying, well, you didn't talk a lot this morning on For the Record. Didn't you talk enough then? Well, if that's your feeling, if you feel that I've already talked too much for the day, then we want to hear from you. I'll do the listening, you do the talking. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Talk Today is reminding you
to avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
And now, back to Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Mike sounding a little muffed. Let's try that. Okay. I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor. No guests in the studio. Our phone lines are open. Toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo, 1-800-534-8255, also 949-8037, 949-6990, WhatsApp 925-3261. Carrying on from our conversations this morning on For the Record, one caller wanted to know about the fishing restrictions in Bermuda, a sister overseas territory, even though some legislation in Bermuda different, because the whole approach to Bermuda was, and the constitution that Bermuda had was that it was a pre-independence constitution. It was a constitution taking them one step closer or one step away from independence as well. So I have found things in relation to Bermuda and fishing restrictions. If you are a recreational fisher, number one, you are not allowed to sell your catch. That is number one. You are not allowed to sell your catch if you are a recreational fisher. Also, you can only obtain a fishing license in Bermuda where it's actually required. You can only obtain a fishing license if you are Bermudan. Also, as far as spearfishing is concerned, and also the taking of lobster. in Bermuda as well. You can only take lobster from Bermudan waters, in Bermudan waters, if you are Bermudan, and of course you have to have a license to do so, and you can only obtain the license with by the fact that you are Bermudan as well. So if you want to know more about it, you can go on to their website, Environment and Natural Resources, and it will give you all of the information there in relation to it. And just like I said before, or earlier this morning, if our legal department, legislative drafting, or legal advisors are not able to navigate the pathway for us to have legislation, including regulations, that will prohibit non-Caymanians from fishing, that will also restrict visitors to catch and release, then we really don't need to have those people in the legal department as well, if they're unable, to provide that sort of legal guidance to us to be able to navigate our Constitution and our Bill of Rights. You heard me invoke the name of Mr. Billis Samamba this morning, and also Dr. Steve McPhail. We had the privilege of hearing Dr. McPhail on air. Unfortunately, because of time constraints, I would have loved to have been able to give him the opportunity to really expand on the whole issue. But I think we had something like about 2 or 3 other callers on hold, and we only had about 10 minutes. But in the meantime, Mr. Samamba has graciously provided me with information. So he said that he had to wait for his learned senior to call in first, and he did not disappoint. That's talking about Dr. Steve McPhail. He says, since I did not fully grasp the facts of the case you were discussing, I hope a few general comments may help. The attached hospital immunity case, Thompson v. HSA, confirmed that the Bill of Rights was not retrospective, since the legislature did not make it clear that it was. And I think in the past we have heard Mr. Samamba speak to that unless the legislature in passing, or our parliament in passing legislation, specifically states in there that it is retrospective, then it would not be. So he says to me, see highlighted bits on page 1 and pages 1 and 3. Retrospective or retrospection is a much misunderstood term, even amongst lawyers. For example, W.A.D. Respect Klein Glidden on Tammy's show this week said that he can see legal problems with applying new immigration legislation to people already in Cayman. He said they will have a reasonable expectation. I think he meant legitimate expectation. Wrong courts accept that sometimes government passes legislation specifically to correct things on the ground. Put in another way, there is no legitimate expectation that legislation will not change. Also, retrospective legislation is not prohibited in the British system of law. It has always been part of the trappings of the sovereignty of the crown. The U.S. may be different. However, there are a few limited cases where it is not allowed. As Doc said, you cannot retrospectively make an act or omission an offense. Human rights instruments say the same. To this day, retrospective legislation is made in the United Kingdom. What the courts insist on is that if you want to make retro legislation, this must be clear from the law. The Interpretation Law 1995 revision provides that things done under a repealed law are not invalidated by a change in the law. It provides effects of appeal where any law repeals and reenacts with or without modification any provisions of any law in force, reference in any other law to the provisions so repealed shall, unless the contrary intention appears, be construed as references to the provisions so reenacted. And he goes on to cite some more as well. I'll share the rest of it with you. We do have a caller, but we have to take a commercial break. When we return, caller, don't hang up, hang right in there. We're going to take your call as soon as we return from this short commercial break.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Get ready for something sweet, spicy, and totally crave-worthy. The hot honey chicken sandwich is here, and it's bringing the heat. We've taken our tender, juicy chicken and drenched it in bold hot honey sauce for the perfect balance of sweetness and spice. But hurry, this one's only here for a limited time. Hot honey chicken. Try it today before it's gone. Subway. Eat fresh.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Witness the elegance of the Miss Universe Cayman Islands 2025 contestants as they embark on a captivating motorcade through our beautiful island. On July 19th, the motorcade will start at 9 a.m. at the Georgetown Public Library, then on to West Bay, followed by stops at 7 Mile Beach, Cayman Turtle Center, Bodden Town, and North Side. Come together as a community to uplift and cheer for these remarkable young women. Don't miss the chance to be a part of the magic. Mark your calendars for July 19th and come out to show your love and encouragement. Let's make this motorcade a day they will never forget.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today. I'm your guest host, Orrett Connor, and we do have a caller on hold. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good afternoon. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm excellent. So, instead of me having a monologue today, I'd prefer to have a dialogue with you.
No problem. Happy to do so.
All right. So, just want to make a brief comment about the fishing license before I get on to the topic I wish to speak on.
Okay.
I don't think that we should be going down the road of requiring a license to do every single thing in the Cayman Islands, including catching a fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, people who are not Caymanians should not be allowed to come and fish. That should be simple enough to do. But you don't have to implement a license for everyone just to stop something. It's simple. You're either Caymanian or you're not, and you can't fish if you're not Caymanian.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, what I really want to talk about is immigration, because the way that the discussion seems to be going, well, immigration and / employment, the way that the discussion seems to be going, it seems to me like politicians are willing to say that all jobs are for Caymanians, but they're not willing to actually put that in legislation in an explicit declaration. And I hold the view that the immigration law should have a section in it that says purpose. And in that section, we should list all of the goals of that legislation.
Mm-hmm.
And we shouldn't be trying to achieve certain things by stealth and semantics and implying things that the public is not even imagining that the government is trying to do. That's all nonsense. The government needs to be above board with the public, clear. You need legislation that's understandable. Now, the government is talking about basically a revamp, but what they're unwilling to do is to deal with one of the most fundamental issues in writing legislation, which is the definitions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is where the dialogue between you and I think, should begin.
Okay, let's go there.
I know that you understand a thing or two about immigration law. And conceptually, there are the concept of a person who has Caymanian status by descent and who doesn't have it by descent,
mm-hmm.
in broad speaking terms, is already enshrined in law, right?
Right.
And the distinction between a person who has been granted Caymanian status without any ancestral connections is that one is that they can't run for office, right? So
mm-hmm.
the first generation Caymanian isn't eligible to be an MP.
Right.
Are there any other distinctions that you are aware of?
No, can't say offhand that there is.
Well, that's my understanding of the law
Mm-hmm,
as well.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you have a difference between the person by descent versus no descent, wouldn't you start by simplifying the law by having definitions that not only make logical sense, but that would allow us to rewrite the immigration law in clear terms, in a more simple way, rather than having these convoluted. I understand what it is that they're saying by using the terms, as of right and so forth. Right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the language could actually be a lot simpler if they were to say, for example, let me back up a second. One thing that it seems to me that some Caymanians refuse to accept is that what it means to be a Caymanian is to have Caymanian status. That doesn't go well with some people, but it is what it is. And so the reason I highlight that is because what I'm talking about here is not something conceptually that's new. These distinctions already exist in law.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to use language that makes it clearer what it is that is meant. So what if we say that the definitions of the types of Caymanians that you have are, as of right, would be Caymanian. That's the first definition. And the second definition is New Caymanian. Now, some people will say, well, why would you need to make that distinction? Well, there's already a distinction in the law, right? It's just not that clean and clear, but it is there. And for those who claim that, no, we don't want that kind of distinction, are they saying that they want to erase the distinction between the one who has it by descent versus the other, so that the one not by descent would be able to run for elected office?
Yeah.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, caller. And back to your, initial question, if there are certain things that some Caymanians can do and certain things that some of them can't do, then we need that distinction. I fully agree with you.
Right. So the reason why I chose the term Caymanian and New Caymanian is because both Caymanian and New Caymanian is a class of status, right? It's just a category of, but you need to have some way to label the differences between the groups. So that you can simply refer to one group versus the other by saying this is a Caymanian, this is a New Caymanian. Now, the status of the New Caymanian will never change, but what will happen is that when they go on to have children, their children will be categorized as Caymanian. Right?
Yeah.
And so that makes the conversation simpler, which means that you can write about it in more simple ways. It would be clearer. The purpose of writing legislation is to ensure that the public understands what's required of them, legally speaking, and therefore they're more able to comply with it. We shouldn't continue to write legislation in a way that requires you to go to a lawyer just to understand simple concepts.
That's
foolishness.
Yeah.
Right? So the reason this bothers me is that the current government seems unwilling to be clear in that way in the plans that they have for rewriting the legislation. Now, the idea that all jobs are for Caymanians, it seems they don't want to do that either. And the reason that bothers me is this. If I was to ask you if murder was wrong, with something that is undesirable for society, do you think we should have a law against it? Any rational person would say, well, yeah, we should have a law against it. Well, if you think that all jobs are for Caymanians, but you don't want to make that declaration in law, are you being honest about that declaration? What I'm trying to say here is this, is that unless we put that provision in law, when cases go to court, the court will not be able to properly analyze what the situation is, because you're leaving one part, an important part, out of the legislation itself. And to me, conceptually, the way that should be worded, I'm just going to word it in concept, right? So it should say all jobs are for Caymanians. That should be in a section under the purpose of the legislation, except that if a Caymanian isn't available for a job, then a work permit is allowed. But no work permit should be allowed for job 1, job 2, job 5. Now, some people think of that as jobs that for Caymanians only. But the reason I do not like that language is because if you had 12 positions open and job position 1 and 2, you said these are for Caymanians only, what are you implying about job 3 to 10? You're implying that they're not for Caymanians only. And you see, this is where when you get to court, what you have declared in law is going to be meaningful. If you were to put in law, all jobs are for Caymanians, the court would have no way to be confused about what it is you're trying to do. And if you take a step further and you say, well, if a Caymanian isn't available for that job, you can get a work permit. So this protects Caymanians and it protects businesses at the same time. This is dealing with just the employment aspect. But then when you say, oh, by the way, we're going to create a schedule to the law that says Commissioner of Police, Deputy Governor, Chief Immigration Officer, or whatever, I know that term is gone, whatever the position is, you're not going to be allowed to get a work permit for those jobs. Now, you're achieving the same thing as those jobs are just for Caymanians, but you're not creating ambiguity about the other 10 jobs because you've made a declaration that says all of the jobs are for Caymanians, except you can get a work permit if one isn't available. So you give clarity in legislation. Ambiguity is our worst enemy because then when you end up in court, you're in a situation where then you have people who are not Caymanians deciding the outcome of your future.
Okay, caller, Ms. Susan, do we have any other callers on hold at the moment? We're going to ask you to hold on while we take a commercial break. And don't forget, now you say this was going to be a two-way conversation, but so far I haven't been able to get a word in sideways, but that's okay. We'll work on that when we return. Please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
There's something new at Subway. Indulge your taste buds with our new barbecue pork rib sandwich tender. Smoky pork ribs smothered in sweet and tangy barbecue sauce, built just the way you like it. It's bold, rich, and seriously satisfying. But hurry, it's here for a limited time only. Order now on the Subway Cayman Islands app for quick in-store pickup or get it delivered with Bento or Let's Eat. The all-new barbecue pork rib sandwich, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
Yummy. This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
It's all about Immerse Summer Camp 2025. Calling all adventurers ages 10 to 14. Join us for a week of hands-on fun, field trips and expert-led sessions inspired by the museum's exhibits. Choose week 1, July 21 to 25, or week 2, July 28 to August 1, with camp running daily from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Just $200 a week with limited spots available. Explore, discover, and create this summer. Visit museum.ky/immerse for more information.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. So caller, just one point I wanted to make. You know, while I've been talking and listening to you, I've been Googling the immigration law, because most legislation, like you pointed out, there's usually a section for objects and reasons. And I was unable to find it so far. I'm still looking at the 2003 legislation to see if it's there.
You see, objects and reasons, that terminology is normally put into the bill, but not included with the law when the bill.
Okay.
And so, but if you were to look in the FOI Act, you will see that in the FOI Act there's a clause that talks about the purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're writing a law, let's just think about it logically. Why wouldn't you say, here is what I'm talking about before you start talking about it?
Yep.
I mean, it's no more complicated than that. But anyhow, go ahead.
No. That was it. That was what I wanted to say. Yeah.
All right. So let's say that we look at status grants, right?
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me that the government is going to make a regulation to say that not status grants, a regulation to talk about jobs for Caymanians only, right? That shouldn't be in the regulation. You see, what that does is that makes it simple for a tyrant to come after and just wipe out that regulation, because regulations don't go to public consultation.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time we figure out what's going on, the damage would be done. Whereas if you had it in legislation, then they would have to go through the process of consulting the public on it and going to the House and justifying why they want the job of commissioner or deputy governor to no longer be just for a Caymanian, right? And so that's going to attract more public scrutiny and provides better protection for the public. So the question I would ask myself is, why wouldn't the government want us to have the best possible protection?
Yep.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Something seems wrong there. And so let's look at status grants, right? So let's say that we had the definition of Caymanian and New Caymanian. In last year, there was, I think, 1,561 status grants.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a population birth of about 800. Now, I don't know what portion of that is Caymanian as of right births. Some have said to me that it could be as little as 500. Well, if there were 500 Caymanians born in 2024, why in the world would we be granting 1,561 status grants?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we need a protection in the law that says, at a very minimum, it should go further than this, but at a very minimum, it should say that the number of status grants that may be issued in 1 year shall not exceed the number of Caymanian net change in the Caymanian births for the previous year. Because what that does is it ensures that we do not get overrun. Now, can you think of any reason why it should be allowable for 2 or 3 times the number of status grants to be issued as there are Caymanians being born?
Mm-hmm.
Can you think of a legitimate reason why that should be the case?
No, not unless you really, want to continue to make Caymanians a minority.
Well, there's one word that comes to my mind, and that's Ponciana. Okay? You have to be crazy if that's what you're thinking about. And so the question then becomes this. If that is bad for us, why will the politicians not say that in legislation? Because people need to appreciate that we are at the mercy of whatever people feel like doing that is politicians feel like doing, when they decide they're going to give away status. And in my view, 1,500 status grants being issued in 2024 with just a few Caymanians being born, that is the definition of mass status grants.
Yep. Yeah.
There's no ambiguity about that. And unless the people of the Cayman Islands stand up and defend themselves at this moment in time, we run a serious risk of losing this country forever. This is a threat. You may not perceive it as a threat, but I assure you that it is a serious threat to everything that we know as Caymanians. I'm not saying that I'm not against people getting status. I'm not against the good people who come here and help us build the country. I'm not against that. But it has to be regulated. And so what we're talking about is a non-chaotic way of running the country, which is what's needed. What has been happening for many years is not sustainable, and it's not in the interest of Caymanians. I believe, personally, that the way we should handle regulate the number of people who can get status grants is that should be a small percentage of the net change in the Caymanian population. Like, for example, for 2024, let's say you have 500. Well, a small percentage of that 500 number is the maximum amount that should be allowed to be granted in status grants for 2026.
And that would include those persons who would gain it by means other than being resident in the Cayman Islands for a period of time and being naturalized. What about that would include marriage and by descent and all of those things?
Well, what you would have to do is decide how you want to handle that. But if you want to include that, that isn't gonna destroy us, right? That's a little detail that you would have to work out precisely what the percentages that you would want to do, considering that dynamic, right? But I'm not opposed to that. A neat way, like a basic way of doing it, is just saying that the percentage of those who is as of right. Now, what that does is that creates another distinction between those who are Caymanian as of right and the new Caymanian. But so I'm not going to be hard and fast on that particular thing. what is important is that the number of status grants that are being issued for, say, 2026 needs to be a percentage that is low enough that prevents Caymanians from continuing to be an even smaller portion of society. That has to stop. And I don't see that happening in listening to what I hear the government currently saying. And it's very disturbing to me if you're unwilling to put it in legislation. It needs to say, all jobs are for Caymanians, and you need to have the provision that controls the rate at which people can get status.
Got you. Mr. Warren, I want to thank you. Thank you very much.
Did I go off?
No. Quite logical. Thank you.
I hope that Caymanians will take advantage of this opportunity, stand strong, and that politicians look out for us in those ways.
Yeah. Thank you very much, folks. Top of the hour, 1 o'clock news. Please stay tuned. Talk Today. We'll be back shortly.
Covering Little Cayman, Cayman Bragg.
Cover me. Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
There are no cruise ships scheduled to arrive in the Cayman Islands for the next 11 days. According to the Port Authority website, there were 6 ships in port this week with 18,400 people on board. The next cruise ship to visit will be on the 29th of July. In international headlines, the U.S. House has passed a measure cutting $9 billion from the federal budget, including funds for public broadcasting and foreign aid. The vote comes amid heated debate in Washington and strong opposition from Democrats. The House passed the bill by a vote of 216 to 213. It now goes to President Trump for his signature. Brazil's former president, Jair Bolsonaro, must now wear an electronic ankle monitor following a court order in an ongoing investigation into anti-democratic rallies he's accused of encouraging. And German Chancellor Friedrich Merz insists his coalition government is stable, this despite rising tensions over budget and foreign policy disputes. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line, no more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP. Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts, MBE, JP, was born at Cotton Tree Bay, Cayman Brac, on October 15, 1916, to James Nathaniel Tibbetts and Elsie Hulda Tibbetts, née Hunter. He was a man of many talents. From shipbuilding, seafaring, a military career, a prosperous entrepreneur, and many decades of service to the people of Cayman Brac and the Cayman Islands as a whole. After serving as a member of the lawmaking body known as the Vestry from 1946 to 1968, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association in Trinidad in 1968 and again in 1978. In 1969, he was appointed a JP. Then in 1976, he was elected to the Legislative Assembly for a 4-year term. Notably, the Cayman Brac representative petitioned the Legislative Assembly with names of over 400 Cayman Brackers, stating they wished to remain a crown colony rather than follow Jamaica's route of independence. In 1977, he represented the Cayman Islands at the Queen's Silver Jubilee in London. In 1988, he was made a member of the Order of the British Empire, MBE, among numerous other community awards, and served with many groups from Ebenezer Baptist Church to Education Councils, Veterans and Seamen's Society, CUC, and the Rotary Club of Cayman Brac. As a testimony of his contributions to his community and connection to sea and tourism, in 1996, shortly after his passing, a Russian destroyer was renamed the MV Captain Tibbetts in his honor and sunk in Cayman Brac waters by the Cayman Islands government to become a popular dive site. After a long and distinguished life of service to his community, he passed away on March 10, 1996. He was married to the late Hilary Elizabeth Marjorie Tibbetts, and together they had 5 children. This was part 7 of a special Sister Islands vignette series dedicated to Captain Keith Parker Tibbetts.
I'll be back. I've got 22 more days.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. I am your guest host. We do have a WhatsApp caller before we take the caller, though. One of our listeners has written and said Denny Warren is right, except we should consider established generational being called Cayman Islanders. Yep. Like BVI Islanders and TC Islanders, who are the most senior status of belongership. Caymanians can continue to be used informally and colloquially because the status holder can call themselves Caymanians now. We tried a thing. We wanted to be inclusive. And what we didn't realize is that the extent that this country's population would grow, the extent of the diversity that we would have here in the Cayman Islands. And as a result, we have fallen victim to our own success. Now that we are discovering that the indigenous Caymanian population is decreasing while other nationalities are increasing, we recognize that we have to do something about it. I would maintain that we still need indigenous Caymanians and those who obtain Caymanian status by descent. And don't forget that when you look at the British Nationality Act, this whole issue, they use a terminology other than by descent, because descent is important. So maybe we should call them Caymanians other than by descent, and call those by descent and Caymanians, and then Caymanians other than by descent, as well. That is one way for us to look at it as well. Maybe that could be considered. The other person says then Warren has a point. At this rate, there is 1 Caymanian to 3 non-Caymanians. The ratio needs to be turned around. Extinction is forever. And during the commercial break, I actually took the opportunity to Google the Fiji, because I have spoken about Fiji before, and saying that I hope and trust that we don't become a Fiji. Of course, Fiji has a standing army, standing military, and there's an article, Fiji, the challenges and opportunities of diversity. During the course of the show, I'll share part of that article with you. Meanwhile, we're going to take a caller on WhatsApp. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. O'Connor.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Okay, and you?
Good. I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Concerning these licenses to fishing,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean that out of the 80-something thousand people that we have living on the island now working, and Caymanians living there, does that mean that 50,000 people are able, once they have the money, they're able to pay for a license to go fishing?
So, can you repeat that? Sorry, I was listening to something else at the moment. Sorry, my apologies. Can you repeat it?
Okay. The law concerning fishing,
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that you're going to need a license to go fishing in the Cayman Islands as a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If we have 50,000 people in the Cayman Islands on work permit working, does that mean that if they're able to afford to buy a license, does that mean 50,000 people are able to get a license to go fishing?
Caller, I believe that the intent is to not allow fishing for non-Caymanians. And in those instances, for instance, where a person is here as a tourist, they would issue license for catch and release. But the whole idea is that you would only be able to fish and take marine life in Caymanian waters if you are a Caymanian and under the terms and conditions that whatever law is in place applies to those Caymanians taking it. But the whole idea is to not to allow fishing and taking of from our marine sanctuaries or marine life for non-Caymanians. Period. Not to say that they have to get a license. The intent, or what was announced, was that they would not be allowed to fish at all. Get me?
Okay, so what is the law then, Mr. O'Connor? If you buy a license, are you able to go fishing?
I don't get the question.
If you get a license to go fishing as a foreigner, are you allowed?
You won't be able to get a license as to go fishing as a foreigner. As a visitor, they're talking about making provisions so that tourists, let's say for instance, if you're a tour guide and you do any type of fishing, it would have to be catch and release for those persons who are along with you who are non-Caymanians.
Okay. We have about 50 to 60,000 people in Cayman on work permit. Okay.
Not that many, but still.
Yes, if the government allows all those people who are able to afford to get a license, and all those people get a license, are all those people able to go fishing and catch fish to eat?
If a license, if they were permitted to obtain a license, but my understanding is the intention is not to permit them to get a license, which means not to permit them to be able to fish.
Okay, because if that is the case, once you're able to afford to get a license, you can get a license. Then, from what I've seen from before, I see people, foreigners, catching fish 4 inches long and putting them in a bucket. And that's not one fish I see them doing that with.
Okay, no matter how much you can afford, the whole intention is that you won't, if you're not Caymanian, you won't be able to fish in Caymanian waters. I'm not sure how much clearer I can put it than that, caller.
Okay, because if they're able to go fishing even once they have a license and they're allowed to catch fish to eat, that means government would have to put a marine officer every half a mile on the shoreline. Because if all those people who are able to afford to get a license are able to go fishing, then protecting our environment when it comes to fishing for our young people, that they can go on and enjoy the fishing, this law does not help in any way whatsoever. But what I heard just now about the status grants, 1,500 status grants in 2024. And then I heard Mr. Klein Glidden speaking on the Compass media.
Mm-hmm.
And he said in the last 15 years, the population has grown by 40,000 people.
Yeah.
So when is the government going to say, okay, we have enough people here on the island now. We can't afford to put any more people here on the island, especially people on work permits, because we have over 700 students graduating every year. And if these people come here and buy up the little bit of land that we have left, our young people aren't going to have any land to buy. When is the government going to be thinking in those lines? All I hear them talking foolishness about building new roads, a bridge from this way to the next way up in the north, sound all kind of foolishness. Thank you very much, Mr. O'Connor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, caller. Again, just to familiarize everyone with the press release, Cabinet approves development of new marine protections. Cayman Islands government approved the development of new legislation that would prohibit non-Caymanians from harvesting any marine life from Cayman's waters, with limited exceptions for regulated catch and release fishing. This proposal forms part of a broader effort to protect marine biodiversity and preserve fishing resources for Caymanians. The proposed framework introduces comprehensive restrictions for non-Caymanians while protecting access for Caymanians. Under consideration are measures that would prohibit non-Caymanians from taking any marine species, including fish, conch, lobster, and other marine life from Cayman waters. It says absolutely nothing about licenses, fishing licenses for non-Caymanians. I hope and I trust that that clarifies the situation and the issue. This listener has written and said, Dana Waring has a point. At this rate, there is one Caymanian for 3 non-Caymanians. The ratio needs to be turned around. Extinction is forever. Then we have a comment from one of our YouTube listeners. There should be no reason to grant status, period. If someone wants to work in Cayman, work. Do your time and leave. What do they need status for? Well, what do they need status for? Well, I can tell you this much, that normally if you have a nationality, you have a nationality and citizenship that you simply don't like because you disagree with the government that you were born under, the nationality that you have, the citizenship that you have, that you disagree with them, and you basically say, gosh, I don't want to be that nationality anymore. That is understandable, right? And, have some people who have lived under very good regimes and for ideological or other purposes decide, I'm going to give up my citizenship and take up citizenship somewhere else, right? Then there are those who realize that in order for me to stay where I am, and in this case, it would be the Cayman Islands, in order for me to stay where I am, enjoy all of the fruits, and when I say that, I don't mean mangoes, genips, tamarind, almond. I'm talking about the dollar bill, dollars. Enjoy all of that, and the only way that I can do that is by obtaining the citizenship to be able to do that. There are those who think in that regard. Folks, not many are doing it because, I love this place so much. I want to be tied to it. I love the people. Here is what I do for the people of the Cayman Islands. I see them as my own. I have adopted a Caymanian child who is in need. When most foreign adoption of Caymanians took place in Cayman, they took place with persons who came here visiting and would come as repeat visitors, and many instances, stay at, condos where Caymanians were working, and they met their children there and say, I would love to take your child back to Canada or to the U.S. and be able allow them to get a good education and things of that nature. Not many of them really want to be here because of their love of the country. It is for their love of what the country can give to them, and we should never lose sight of that. We should never lose sight of that. We do have a caller. Let's grab the caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Ossie. I owe you a call, so I have to call you about.
Thank you, and thanks for providing the information that you did as well. I shared it, some of it earlier.
Okay, very well. So I'll try to be a little bit brief on it. But even if I want to discuss that, but let me try to address what you were discussing with the previous caller about the licenses.
Mm-hmm.
The way I understood him was, maybe it didn't quite come out that way.
Okay.
He was trying to say probably that, look, if all that a foreigner needs to do is to get a license, then how are you controlling anything if they can afford to pay for a license, and if most of them can afford to pay for a license? Are you going to really be achieving the aim of ensuring that the fisheries are not depleted? That's the way I understood him.
Okay. If the intention were to issue a license to every foreigner.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the answer to that probably would be that what is supposed when you regulate something by saying you need a license, there are various things you're trying to achieve. Sometimes you are just trying to say, look, anybody who can undertake this activity, we will give them a license. What we want to make sure is just that they are meeting certain standards. Sometimes you are not really concerned with the number of licenses you give. But it seems to me that in relation to this fisheries issue, the intention is to limit the number of people who will be able to fish. So the chances are probably government is saying, well, look, Caymanians, you can fish, but we want to make sure that we do not issue more than 100 or 200 licenses to ensure that there is not too much fishing. So in other words, it isn't everybody who can afford to get a license who will get a license. They may well see at some point where, look, this year we have issued 200 licenses in terms of the recommendations from Environment Department and all those. This is all that it can take. And I imagine that is part of the intention behind that. Now, if I understood him correctly, probably that's a further answer to what you were discussing with him.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, the other issue about retrospection, you see, that issue is very much misunderstood. Very much misunderstood. An example I didn't give in the material I sent you. Think of this: you imagine you've got a liquor license, which is issued. I don't know how the frequency of the issuance in Cayman, but let us imagine it is issued for 1 year, from January to December. And let us imagine that the bars are open until 1 o'clock. And the government determines that there's been a little bit of criminality or some other untoward activity and decides that, well, we will have the bars closing at 11 o'clock. Now, can you, as a license holder, say, oh, no, you can't change the law in relation to me. I already have a license for 1 year. You know? You can't do that. The laws change all the time. And the judges have always been very careful to say, look, don't say that this doesn't affect me because I already started doing such an activity. Sometimes the law comes in specifically to rein in things that are already taking place and things which sometimes the government is already allowed. Let me mention a very interesting case. I think it's easy enough to be able to be shared on radio.
Okay.
In all the Manitoba case, what they did was they passed a law to say you can't have more than something like 20 gallons of whiskey on your premises. This lady was arrested. She had more than 20 gallons of whiskey. She went to court, and then the lawyer said, oh, no, but this can't apply to her because she had this whiskey before. You know, she had 30 gallons of whiskey, and you can't surely apply the law to her. You have to give her a chance to get rid of the whiskey. And the court said, no. The law says you can't possess it. It doesn't say you can't acquire it. If you possess it, regardless of when you got it, whether you brewed it after the law was passed or you brewed it before, it doesn't matter. It says you shouldn't possess it. It means that, therefore, if you possess it, then you must get rid of it once the law is passed. And the judge emphasized that sometimes laws are passed precisely to force people to undo things that they may have already done. So that's the issue about that. About the retrospection, if I can end on that, OC, I think retrospection, I don't know if government has been properly advised. If they have been properly advised, well, first of all, if they have been advised, I can tell you straight away that it is wrong. If they are saying that, well, look, if you apply it to people who are already here, that is retrospective. In any case, even if it's retrospective, I think I've said this many times on your show, so long as the government makes it clear in the legislation that it is retrospective. This is part of what the British government has always done. In America, it might be a little bit different, but this is something which I believe having learned about Caymanian society, I suspect that some people are aware, but they just don't want to do it. I want to mention the lawyer who gave the opinion. One of them said, well, no, but it will be retrospective. No, that is totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Over time, we can discuss it even further.
Okay,
yes.
Just one more question before you go. The case with the 4 persons who were charged with taking the marine life, and the Crown Council deciding and saying basically that it was, I'm trying to remember the terminology, it wasn't based on the law why they decided to withdraw the case. It was based on their discretion. How much discretion does a Crown Council have to withdraw legislation without consulting the DPP?
Well, first of all, that lawyer doesn't know how to talk. That's not lawyer's language, because even discretions are supposed to be exercised within the law. Okay? Yeah, so that's the technicality of it. All discretions are supposed to be exercised under Section 19 of the Constitution in a manner that is lawful, rational, proportionate, and procedurally fair. Now, I'm not quite sure about the fact, when she says that it was a discretion, there's a prosecutorial discretion where you can decide to prosecute or not to prosecute, but I'm not quite sure that I understand exactly the circumstances in which she exercised these powers.
Mm-hmm.
So until I learn a little bit more, like what kind of discretion it was, I'll be very slow, to comment on it.
Well, basically, what the magistrate said that the senior magistrate, who is now the Chief Justice, basically asked her to consult, with the DPP and everyone, because it was the magistrate's opinion, or she had a fear that the current law may breach what was coming up in 2012 in terms of the Bill of Rights. And she said to them, could you go ahead and consult with the, with the DPP, with your superiors. And it seems as if the Crown Council said, I don't even need to do that, Your Honor. I will, my decision to withdraw is not based on law, but on discretion, and just based on her own discretion, whatever it was, said, it's okay. We won't proceed with it.
I would love that to be better explained, because as soon as the lawyer starts saying that I'm acting outside the law and not within the law from the very beginning, there's a problem there. But I'll have a look at it a little bit further,
okay,
and then we can have a chat, of course.
Yeah, what I took it from the article in the Cayman Compass written by Carol Winker on I think it was the 14th of March 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll find the article and then we can chat about it again. 14
Excellent.
March. Yes, thanks very much, Fossey.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Samamba. Folks, we do have a caller on hold. We will take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN Money Transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card, pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We have a caller on WhatsApp. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Yeah, we'll see how you doing, man.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, not so good. Could be better, but thankful. You know
Okay.
that anyway?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, I was just on the verge of. I talked to Charles a few days ago. I think it was Wednesday, about the same issue when I heard the thing open up again about the fishing license and all like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite obvious that we're still trying almost like to not see this as the grim and dire situation that we're in. People like myself who have seen the evolvement of the depletion of our marine life. And let's not forget about also the land crabs. And so just since we had to talk about conservation and, of a whole ecology here, I understand now that there's something brewing about licensing fees. Well, I don't know if you really know or how many people do, but fish has gone to $10 a pound.
Wow.
You aware of that?
No. The last time it was something like $8.50. Usually, you see the price of fish increase when the price of fuel increases, but I wasn't aware.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said reaction brings a reaction, huh? And it's left to people's discretion. Thing is, you're gonna issue a license to someone that's got to pay $10 a fish. He's going to fishing or she's going to fishing, catch fish, and expect them to release it. Look, a lot of places that I just don't want to sound, belligerent on this, but in third world countries, there is a lot of anything goes fish. I've been to countries where they catch fish that seemingly born the night before, but it's part of their diet. You know what I'm saying? Those countries, people are striving to survive and they'll do so practically at any measure. We cannot allow that to happen to us. We have a tourism product here. One of our greatest assets is the marine life, our whole ecology. What's the point of having sea, sand, and sun, but you have a dead sea? We have to retain, you see all the rocks along the shoreline that you see turning white? It's because there's not enough juvenile fish anymore to clean them off, and the algae is killing the rock because you can't get adequate sunlight and oxygen.
Mm.
This is some serious reason to be concerned. And we just can't have this floodgates open with people coming. You know, I know we depend on human resources. That's what Cayman practically built on. But it cannot be unconditional. It has to be conditioned. There's no country in the world, every country in the world can, if it calls that discrimination, can and will discriminate to protect their sovereignty. It's a known fact. If the law doesn't do something in those countries, the natives get up and probably wind up rebelling and become very hostile and violent.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems to me here, if the right thing is not done, no licensing, let a replenishment right across the board for Caymanians as well too. We reach that stage where we have to limit the amount of can cut per day. We have to limit, and not only limit, but put the money to actually patrol, to enforce these laws that have teeth. We find money for everything else. This is one of our greatest assets. It's beyond me. It's what most people don't know what time it is or what. This situation is grim and dire. You soon have a dead sea.
Well, our marine conservation laws have been pretty successful. Otherwise, we wouldn't be where we are today if we had left it open the way it was for you to take, our marine life without any restrictions whatsoever. Yeah, we're fortunate.
You're right on that, but at the same time, remember, it's not everybody is law-abiding.
Mm-hmm,
a lot of people have adopted this thing, whether it's for some urgent need they have, addiction or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They have adopted the wisdom of a fool. And you being a very intelligent man, I think you know what that means, is to live for today and die for tomorrow. That is what has happened to us here. You see, desperation gets people in many ways, and what we do, we take the things that is accessible to us without realizing. If everyone could develop, which is almost like asking too much, I guess, to develop the whole mentality of, I want to leave this place better than I found it.
Mm-hmm,
but we can't leave it for people's discretion. You can't have laws and say people are going to abide by it, and that's the end of the day. If not, it's no more than a token gesture. We deserve more than that. What about the children that's coming, they're unborn? You think they don't deserve? We need sustainability, man. We need preservation at all costs. We reach that stage. It's too much, too quick, too fast, the way we're developing.
Yep. I agree.
Well, see, I know you would, because you're coming from the old school too. I know. you know what we had, where we come from, and that has a lot of sentimental bearings. I know it would, but the whole long and short of it is, we just cannot just be catering to say we don't want to offend people. We have a situation where we have to protect it at all costs, and desperate times require desperate measures. So, see, and I guess you might have somebody else coming in, but I'm going to fight this tooth and nail. Oh, last but not least, coincidentally, I just heard about this just recently, but I and a few others were talking seriously about soon to launch an island-wide petition against these injustices, And if you don't get the right results, it probably will come to that. I don't condone violence in any form, but if something gets on the fighting side of me, I will defend myself till the last breath and ounce of strength that I have. That's where I'm coming from. So, we are a very, very accepting, receptive people, greatest hospitality probably in the whole wide world. But we just can't get fried fat continually and think that we can survive as it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like it can't be unconditional. People, listen, I think anybody that coming here as a visitor, as a worker, in a transition, people coming from somewhere else, if we told them the conditions, listen, this is what is expected of you. We want you to have the utmost respect for our ecology, our marine life, etc. And these are the stipulations. If you don't abide, you could be losing your work permit. I think 99% of the people or 100% of the people wouldn't have any problem with that. But we've been handling with kid gloves too long, that this, like anything goes. To be honest, I told Charles a few days ago that the way we have evolved is that you could have a sign stuck up in the airport that says, welcome to the Cayman Islands, one and all, come as you are, do as you please. Because it's almost been unconditional. It can't be like that. We have to stop thinking about the income only. Let's concentrate now on the outcome. Proceed with that. Have a good one.
Thank you very much. You do the same as well. Thank you. We are going to take a commercial break. We do have another caller and we will take that call as soon as we return. So please stay tuned.
This summer, choose from 10 international destinations for your vacation with Cayman Airways. Explore New York, discover Denver, roam Los Angeles, play in Tampa, shop in Miami, tour Panama, uncover Havana, hike in La Ceiba, jam in Kingston, or relax in Montego Bay. Connecting flights are also available from the sister islands. Cayman Airways offers more international non-stop flights to and from the Cayman Islands than any other airline, and the lowest rates for checked bags. Book today at CaymanAirways.com, download our new mobile app, or call Cayman Airways reservations on 949-2311. Come fly with us and relax with your uniquely Caymanian airline.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Here are a few tips that will benefit you. Ensure to log out completely when you finish any online banking activities. Be aware of phishing attempts and only click links from trusted sources that are sent from your device through emails and messages. Remember, Cayman National will never ask you for your credentials. If you suspect a fraud attempt or that your account has been compromised, please immediately contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
It's all about Immerse Summer Camp 2025. Calling all adventurers ages 10 to 14. Join us for a week of hands-on fun, field trips and expert-led sessions inspired by the museum's exhibits. Choose week 1, July 21 to 25, or week 2, July 28 to August 1, with camp running daily from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Just $200 a week with limited spots available. Explore, discover, and create this summer. Visit museum.ky/immerse for more information.
In accordance with the Standards in Public Life Act, persons in public life must submit their 2025 declarations to the Register of Interest by 30th of July. Persons in public life include members of Parliament, senior public servants, and members of governing bodies of statutory authorities and government companies. Failure to submit a required declaration is an offence under the Act and can result in penalties. For more information or to file your annual declarations to the Register of Interest, visit www.standardsandpubliclifecommission.ky/Register of Interest by 30th of July 2025.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We do have a caller on hold. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome.
Known to you, Mr. Dorsey. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm getting ready to eat a little bit of turtle meat, you know.
Okay.
From Ian and Miss Berra. So I think I'll make this call long.
You don't want it to get cold, right?
I don't want that to get cold. But I just needed to call in regards to debate. So I heard on the way driving to Miss Berra, I heard the call that you had a few calls back with a caller where I thought you were breaking down in the most simplest terms what you understood the proposal to be, and the caller kept coming back with a slightly different variation.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had the gentleman that calls from overseas who was trying to reinterpret what it is that he understood he was saying, and I'm from here, and I wasn't quite sure what I was missing, and then I heard I was like, I think it's supposed to be clear, but then I heard the last caller, so. And I couldn't agree with him more in terms of the passion that he brings across to help us to see clearly what may be at stake. But there seems to be a debate for something that I didn't hear was in the initial proposal, which is to do with license for everyone. I think it was Mr. Charlo the other day who seemed to have raised it when he was on there saying, why not everyone? And if I was to read his mind in listening to him, it seemed like that was his way of trying to redress what may be perceived as biasness towards Caymanians being able to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, needless to say, I don't share that view, although I hear him. And so we've got this whole entire debate of the money for a license in the midst of this. So I haven't heard the government say that. And since we don't collect any fees for those licenses now, I don't think that's the intent, and I certainly don't think that government expects to get any sort of money from this. I understood when I listened to the minister, Catherine Ebanks, the other day, I heard her said, and she tried to be as ginger with it as possible. What an amazing lady in the way that she said it. She says, our goal is to not make it onerous for Caymanians, recognizing our heritage component in the midst of fishing.
Yep.
Now, again, I just listened to your last caller. He's actually calling for a sacrifice across the board. And maybe it's worthwhile to get somebody like a Gina Eubanks-Petrie from DOE, who I remember a few years ago tried to make certain areas, and if I'm not mistaken, still has certain areas in the country where you can no longer fish. And it was as a result of them identifying that there was a crisis in certain areas, similar to what that caller was just saying. But what am I getting at? I'm getting at that I have no problems restricting it to Cayman. I don't understand why we have to be cumbersome, confusing, and the whole nine. What stops us, Mr. O.C., from saying nobody else can fish in Cayman but Cayman? Why do we have to make it convoluted? What's stopping us from saying that?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, caller, I was thinking while discussing this, we say that if you're non-Caymanian, you need to have a work permit in the Cayman Islands. You can't work you can't work unless you have a work permit or unless you're employed by the government of the Cayman Islands. What's the difference?
What's the difference? Exactly. Why do we have to bring it down to this convoluted things like, well, you're going to have to try to issue license. And so then, it gets into whether we're getting money or not to pay for it, I think is what Charlo suggested. To pay for what? The enforcement? They already have enforcement officers. And if you're going to need a little couple more, well, our sea life is at stake, like the last caller just said. I don't understand. My thing is, let's just make it across the board. It's not complicated, not confusing. If you're not Caymanian, you should not be on it. And let me tell you now, I think we got enough Caymanians, certainly very passionate and committed, like the gentleman before you, who has no problem going up to people on their insurance saying, are you Caymanian? And maybe that's a good way for the government also to come back and let us know about this ID that we're supposed to be getting that helps to identify who Caymanian and who not. I'll leave it there, man. Thanks.
Okay, I want to thank that caller as well. So this morning also, we on the question of Bermuda. Bermuda does have a Bill of Rights. It is enshrined in their constitution, so not two separate documents as well. And like I pointed out earlier, if you apply, in order to apply for a recreational lobster diving license in Bermuda, says to dive for lobsters in Bermuda, you need a recreational lobster diving license from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. And then it goes on to say, lobster diving license will only be issued to Bermuda residents. All right? In this case, that is Bermuda residents. There was another case where I believe it had to do with Bermudans, but I'll find that one, as well. So again, here you are, you're limited persons other than Bermudan residents. In our case, we would be limiting or restricting or eliminating all others except for Caymanians. I don't believe, like Mr. Billy and Dr. Macfield says, that we really have any huge legal obstacle to overcome. I really don't believe that we do. Okay, what else I wanted to share? Yeah, the challenges. The challenges facing Fiji. Trying to make sure that I can access this again. For some reason, it is forcing me out of that. So okay, here we go. The challenges and opportunities of diversity, Fiji. You've heard me speak about Fiji before. And, I'm not in any way trying to raise any red flags or anything, but, we should be looking into the future. We keep hearing about people say that the next generation, the upcoming generation of Caymanians are not going to be likely to be as accepting as we are. And the possibility of them taking things into their own hands, those possibilities are out there. So Fiji has experienced 4 military coups and a military mutiny since 1987. And this article was written way back in 2013, but still can use it as an example. Mainly as a result of tensions between the majority indigenous Fijian population and an economically powerful Indian minority, smaller minorities including Banabans, Rotumans, Chinese, Melanesians, and other Pacific Islanders are largely politically invisible and socially and economically excluded. So, like I said earlier, we here in the Cayman Islands, we don't have a military. Closest to it, a regiment, police force, maritime, or Coast Guard, Cayman Islands Coast Guard as well, but we don't have a military. So that situation in Fiji arose because while they have a majority indigenous, and we see our indigenous Caymanians, we're still in a majority when compared to each other category. But if you were to take all of those other categories and combine them, then we could possibly be a minority if we looked at the others as one entity. What we don't want to find ourselves in, and as a result of that, Fiji had to then draft a constitution and in 2013, Fiji's government rejected a draft constitution that was drawn up by an independent commission and submitted to be rewritten by the Attorney General's office. This intervention threatened to significantly undermine the people's confidence in the process and the final document and a democratic future of Fiji. Again, the point that I was trying to point out there in relation to that was that they had to make constitutional changes because of the situation as far as diversity was concerned in Fiji. As the debate continues here in the Cayman Islands, and folks, believe you me, every day the debate is becoming more and more intense. That is why it is so important that we address the concerns of Caymanians, that we address the immigration situation that we have in the Cayman Islands, including the granting of permanent residence, the granting of Caymanian status, how long people will be allowed to work here, whether or not we can afford to offer residency and status to persons who have absolutely no connection with these islands but simply want to remain here because of the economic benefits that accrue to them as a result of them being here. And at the same time, they're not stateless. They have a country that they can return to. Those are the things that we have to look at. Otherwise, folks, we could really become another Fiji. Let's go to our headline news. Please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market.
I'm April Cummings with your latest headlines. According to IRG's second quarter market data report, the average real estate transaction value in the Cayman Islands, $816,000, 292 U.S. That is up from $631,940 in the same quarter last year. So far for 2025, the total transaction value of real estate up 35% to $422 million U.S. And the IRG report also shows luxury market sales down about 4% from the same quarter last year. It also shows a 58% increase in the number of sales quarter over quarter. You can find the report online at irgcayman.com. In international headlines, a massive wildfire in Northern California has forced thousands from their homes. Firefighters are battling the blaze as high winds and hot weather make containment difficult, prompting new evacuation orders early this morning. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, will now gain access to personal data for millions of Medicaid enrollees, including undocumented migrants. The move is part of the Trump administration's border crackdown. Critics say they have privacy and civil rights concerns. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has formally approved Juul to resume sales of its vape devices and nicotine pods in the U.S. It marks a dramatic turn for the embattled company after years of regulatory battles and youth vaping concerns. Those are your headlines. I'm April Cummings.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Stay cyber secure with Cayman National. Protect your computers and mobile devices with security software to defend against cyber attacks through viruses, malware, and other online threats. Be aware of unsecure Wi-Fi connections when in public. If you need to access your online banking or sensitive information on your mobile devices, try disabling the Wi-Fi and switching to data from your mobile network. If you suspect a fraud attempt, please contact our customer support team at 949-8300.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. One of our listeners has written and said, I imagine that the government would want visitors who would travel here for sport fishing to be able to do so, which is okay with restrictions, but non-Caymanians who are resident here should be banned unless they become Caymanian. We do have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. O.C.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Just fine, thank you. I won't pretend to be any lawyer or any activist or anyone trying to solve that problem. But just like to see you're talking about Fiji, which of course is an independent nation, which we're not, and uprisings. There was an uprising in the big, that was a colony then, Jamaica, 1865. Really what it was a successful farmer, Paul Bogle was his name. There were very contentious things happening. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, I don't know. Or the kick here, whether it's cut off or not.
You're still live.
And it was very serious and very important. I won't go into the details of it, what actually we do have. And you can find that out in the Jamaican archives. They were very good archives. So he led a march from Stony Gut, where he lived in St. Thomas, where it was all taking place, to San Diego de la Vega, which is known as Spanish Town by all people who lived there. And that's where the governor's office was. Governor Eyre was governor at the time. And that's a long march in those days, 45 miles with many people. And the governor refused to talk to him, on his back on him. So he had to walk all the way back. The result of that, of course, is well known. Bogle was hung, and there was a gentleman, oh Lord, he was a known lawyer, son of a slave and a white man, George, what's his name now, the Prime Minister's house is named after him, I believe. Gordon,
yeah.
Yes. I named that. There's a photograph of him in the North Hall Hospital and other places. Yeah. And he was also hung because he agreed with Bogle, and he had some meetings with Bogle. They weren't that well known to each other and so forth. But the British Eyre decided to put it together and would choose him as an activist or whatever. Just when you said about the Fiji thing, it reminded me of that. And they were both hung on about 633 Jamaicans there in Morant Bay were hung or shot the British soldiers there. And many of them, when they were seen not to be dying quickly enough, they were shot. This came from the revelations of a British lieutenant, I call it, their observations about the whole thing, how horrible it was. I mean, that Jamaica was placed on the edict, more or less. And then in 1938, something similar happened with the uprising, where Mr. Bustamante would then cement his name forever in the annals of history of Jamaica. He led a march because at that time, only people who could earn £50 a year, I think it may have been less, could vote in elections, and that would mean that almost 75% of the population couldn't vote. So that ended that, and it led to many things. But it reminded me a lot of that. So we can't think of anything like an uprising. It would not be allowed by the British, in my estimation. Whenever I call you, I'm giving you my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion. What I'd like to ask about the fishing thing, and before I go on to ask you about what I'd ask you to, doubling up there, to find out, what happens to Caymanian fishermen? It's very confusing here. Who fishing is his profession, which we know there are several, and he goes out deep sea fishing. Mightn't be, when we say deep sea, it might be hundreds of miles off. 10, 12 miles is very deep sea in Cayman, especially going on the south side. And he has hired with work permit, a work permit holder to be a fisherman with him. What happens with that? Is that permit holder allowed to fish still, or what? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess those are the technicalities that they would have to work out.
Yes. I imagine so. It's a very complex thing. To tell you the truth, I'm just going to give you my opinion right now.
Okay.
It isn't worth very much, I know that. But I don't think this is going to work. I'm just going to say that and say no more. It's not going to work.
When you say you what you're saying is that whatever they implement will not be workable?
Not whatever they implement. However, they try to implement it, because what we do is often without that important word, courage. We don't say, listen, this is going to be it. From hell or high water.
No hedging. Be explicit.
The Bermudans say, this is how it is. We could say, just like you've often said, you come here on a work permit. You cannot apply for residency or anything. You come on a work permit, you're welcome, enjoy the place, do what you have to do, which is mostly what they all want to do, most of the work permit holders, and go back home and so forth. Then you can come back after a year or two and do the same thing again over and over if it's so needed. But you will not apply, as we're saying, that we could be overcome. That's easy enough for you. I'm bothered with with a fifth form education, less than that could see. But we won't do it because of lack of courage. The things that I were asking you about, this is what I see that lacks, we can easily press forward towards something that Bermuda has. I know that was an independent constitution which didn't pass there in the referendum, etc. But people don't seem to understand what independence means politically. It's a totally different form of government, completely different form of government. It just doesn't solve this or that, or many problems will still remain, but it's a different form of government. And that is what people need to learn to accept if they talk about that, which I don't see that ever happening to us, not on the present condition. I'd ask you if you could find out who how many people it was who stood for the first elections and how were they selected in the first election, December 10, 1831, at the old St. James Pedro Cast, if you want to call it that. And how were they selected? Was it by the magistrates, which was the first government, and the only government in existence at the time, who selected and said, these are the people who you should vote for, and these are the people who should be able to vote? Who were the people who were electors and who was there, who were put up to be the elected men? And it would be interesting to find out if people could find this out, and subsequent elections, what happened and so forth, because we know it could only be a very few, because the slaves, half the population, couldn't vote, and people who didn't own land couldn't vote, or else you had a lease on it. And we know there were a few free slaves who owned land and so forth, if they voted. And we know women couldn't vote, yet still the largest piece of property in Cayman at that time was owned by a woman, Mary Borden, and so forth. All these things would be very interesting. They were talking yesterday, Mr. Loxley on the channel, about our history being, not properly presented to the people in many times. There's lack of it, and I know this. I don't have to ask about that. I thought that these things might be important for people to know who it was in the first elections, how it was done, and who was selected to be the people who would be running as legislators or who would be elected, and how they were chosen and so forth. And
yeah, I haven't had a chance to be able to get that yet, but I haven't forgotten it. Okay.
I just wondered that might be important for people to know. But again, thank you very much. We must press on and be courageous to change aspects of our Constitution. We can do it, but it takes courage. We can do it. The British aren't going to say, oh God, go independent. They're not going to say that. Trust me. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. You too, sir. Have a good weekend. We're going to take our last commercial break. We're going to close the phone lines off momentarily. I have something that I want to share with you, our audience, in relation to work and the call for Caymanians to protect your place in the workforce by using the Work Job Portal. Please stay tuned. Talk today. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. We're on the last leg of the show this afternoon. 12 minutes to go. We have temporarily closed off the phone lines. Caymanians, here's the call for you to protect your place in the workforce. Use the Work Jobs Portal. This is a release from Workforce Opportunities and Residents Cayman. So Workforce Opportunities and Residency Cayman is urging all Caymanian job seekers to utilize the Work Jobs Portal because it is the only way to ensure you are visible in a system designed to prioritize Caymanian employment. If you don't apply through the portal, work won't be able to confirm your application or hold employers accountable. So you're advised strongly to utilize the Work Jobs Portal because it is the only way to ensure that you are visible in a system which is designed to prioritize Caymanian employment. If you don't apply through the portal, then work won't be able to confirm your application or hold employers accountable. And there are ways to hold employers accountable. Trust me, there are ways. You just have to have the testicular fortitude to do so as well. Under current regulations, every job vacancy in the Cayman Islands must be posted on the Work Jobs Portal. This means that it is not just the most trusted source of employment opportunities. It is the only platform that allows work to verify that Caymanians are being considered first, as the law requires. By using the official Work Jobs Portal, Caymanian job seekers ensure their applications are visible, recognized, and fully compliant with national hiring protocols. Work has the Work Permit Board and Business Staffing Plan Board the Work Permit Board and Business Staffing Plan Board through the Work Jobs Portal are able to monitor and track when Caymanians apply to vacancies. This accountability helps ensure that Caymanians are prioritized. In order to prevent fraudulent information, users should avoid engaging with advertisements outside of the work system, such as unofficial job boards, social media posts, or third-party recruiters promising employment. Right? So don't rely on all of those other things, because while they may advertise otherwise, the law doesn't prohibit them from advertising elsewhere. These are my words now, but they must advertise on the jobs portal, and you are obligated only to apply on the jobs portal. So if they tell you have to apply through LinkedIn or any other system out there, no, it is the jobs portal. Those are my words, right? Why you should use the Works job portal? Using the Work jobs portal is in your best interest as a Caymanian job seeker. It's the only way to ensure your application counts. The Work jobs portal offers a range of advantages specifically for Caymanians actively seeking employment. 1. Official and secure. All job postings are verified and aligned with Cayman Islands labor policies, ensuring authenticity and compliance. 2. Visible to the boards. When you apply through the portal, Work and the boards know you have applied, and that matters. 3. Access to opportunities. Caymanian job seekers can view and apply for positions across all industries and sectors via a single platform. Streamlined application process. Caymanian applicants can submit, track, and manage their job applications easily and securely from one centralized location. Mandatory compliance. All Cayman Islands employers are required to post job vacancies and receive applications through the portal. Don't let your application fall outside that system. Pointers on how to get started. Register for a Work account at www.worc.ky and complete your profile, including uploading all required documents. Browse job listings from employers across a wide range of sectors. Apply directly through the portal for roles that match your skills and interest. This one is important, folks. Apply directly through the portal for roles. These are the operative words here. For roles that match your skills and interests. If you don't have the skills for the role that is being advertised, don't apply for it, because then you're giving them an opportunity to reject you based on the lack of skills or experience, possibly experience in that area. So ensure that the roles that you apply for, that they match your skills and interests. Stay informed by regularly updating your profile and checking your portal inbox for employer communications. If you have concerns about the legitimacy of a job, report it to Works compliance team. Their number is 945-9672 or via email at work@gov.ky. Work is committed to empowering Caymanians with direct access to employment opportunities and to ensuring the safe and compliant facilitation of all applications for jobs posted on our portal. Start your search today by visiting www.worc.ky. Don't miss your chance to be seen. Apply through the Work Jobs portal where your application counts. Your next opportunity could be just a few clicks away. And for assistance or more information, you can contact WORC at worc@gov.ky. Now, we know that some people have complained about the portal and not being user-friendly and all of those things. And we know that work is being done, on that as well. But trust me, believe me, the way for the boards, Work Permit Board, Business Staffing Plan Board, and any administrator who may be dealing with a work permit application, the way for them to know that you have applied for a job, if you have been registered and if you apply on the work jobs portal, because that portal is the only system that employers in the Cayman Islands are required, legally required, it's mandatory that they must advertise on the jobs portal. Yes, sometimes some employers may ask for a position, the need to advertise a position, that it be waived. There are already provisions in the immigration regulations for certain positions to be waived, but it is highly, highly unusual for the boards to waive any regular job advertisement requirement. Very unusual. They can sometimes apply for it, but it is highly unusual for that waiver to be given. So every grant, every renewal has to be advertised on the job portal, and you can apply for them, and those applications are scrutinized to see whether or not to ensure that you have been given a fair opportunity, not to apply because you've already applied on the jobs portal, but to secure that job. So this whole thing, this whole idea that when a renewal application is submitted, that employers don't want to consider your application because they're applying for a renewal, that is hogwash. They're required, and if there's a qualified, willing, and able Caymanian who can take that position, then that Caymanian must be considered for that position, and the employer then has to establish and prove their case as to why that Caymanian is not qualified. So whether it be a grant or whether it be a renewal, if there is a Caymanian applicant, the employer will be taken to task on that as well. So that's a press release that's coming out. It'll be advertised even more. There are some suggestions in relation to work doing some more publicity on this, and maybe establishing areas where people will have terminals that they can apply online other than at work, maybe in libraries, or doing town hall meetings, district meetings in that regard as well. I'm sure that you will hear more about it, because not only the Work Permit Board, but the Business Staffing Plan Board and everyone there, they're on the journey to ensure that Caymanians are given every opportunity available under the law, and that they're entitled to, as Caymanians, to obtain these jobs when they are advertised, if they are qualified for them as well. So, folks, it's been a long day, but I'm enjoying it. If you notice, I don't think my voice sounded tired at any point in time, but I'm going to have a rest for the weekend. Of course, get on a bicycle on Sunday, God's willing, as well. And please, drivers out there, when you see cyclists on the road, please give them a little bit more space. There is, in the U.S., I think it is, there's a 3-foot rule. I believe in Cayman, the distance that you should cross cyclists is even more, much more than the 3-foot rule. It might be 3 meters instead of 3 feet, whatever. But please, please, please be considerate when cyclists are on the road. Meanwhile, all of you who are road users, please, please ensure that you observe the rules of the road, because the life you save may just be your own. Have a great weekend. Join me on Monday on For the Record, God's willing, where we will have guests in the studio talking about the storm surge, this new tool that they now have at their disposal as well. Please stay safe, and as usual, we ask the good Lord to continue to bless these 3 beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.